Situated in the Smoky Mountains of Tennessee, Dollywood is a great family theme park that has an excellent selection of roller coasters. Their coasters range from the extreme thrill machines to the more tame family attractions. There's something here for everyone to enjoy. Alright, let's get to the rankings. Number 9, Whistle Punk Chaser, built by Zamperla, opened in 2017. Located right next to Thunderhead, Whistle Punk Chaser is your typical kiddie coaster. Not much to discuss of this relatively new coaster, other than the fact of how smooth it is. Most kiddie coasters have some sort of janky transitions, but not this one. My 5-year-old daughter enjoyed this coaster, but for her, she is already starting to outgrow these types of kiddie coasters and was setting her gaze to bigger family coasters in the park. Number 8, Blazing Fury. Built in-house, opened in 1978. Technically a roller coaster, this classic dark ride attraction features a few small drops, which are the only reason this is considered a coaster cred. The theming is very old and could use some updating, but at the same time, it's the corniness of this theming that makes this a fun ride. Overall, it's a somewhat forgettable dark ride experience, but considering its age, I think the park has done a rather fine job at keeping this ride up and running, especially considering that the attraction was built by the Dollywood maintenance crew. Number 7, Mystery Mine, built by Gerstlauer, opened in 2007. During my first trip to Dollywood in 2016, Mystery Mine was one of my favorite roller coasters in the park. I thought the theming was spot on and the ride delivered some decent thrills. Well, after 4 years, we went back to Dollywood just a few weeks ago, and unfortunately, Mystery Mine no longer ranks near the top of my list. I remember the ride having a few rough spots, but never remember it being this rough. From beginning to end, Mystery Mine was playing ping pong with my head and using the ride restraints as the paddle boards. The first 2/3 of the ride became almost unbearable. Thankfully, the finale wasn't as rough and still delivered on the thrills I remembered from before. If it wasn't for the high quality of the theming, I would be ranking this coaster in last place, but the amazing theming is currently the only saving grace for this rough Eurofighter. Now, in the ride's defense, due to the current pandemic procedures and my wife needing to stay with our kids, we parent swapped. I had the train entirely to myself. I'm wondering if maybe the train would ride differently with a full load. Until I can return and ride with others, my ranking stands as is. Number 6, Dragonflier, built by Vekoma, opened in 2019. I was pleasantly surprised with how forceful the first section of this roller coaster is. The drop and turnaround provide the strongest G's, almost going beyond that family coaster threshold. My daughter was big enough to ride this, but it was almost too intense for her. She is 5 years old, and this coaster is basically the top of the intensity that I'd throw at her. The first and second rides might have been a little intense for her, but after her third and fourth rides, she really started to enjoy this family invert. The ride layout is rather short and basic, but enough to be enjoyable. The best place to ride this roller coaster is clearly in the front row, that way you have nothing interfering with your view. Comparing this to other family coaster inverts, this would be one of the best out there, and I rank it slightly above Merlin's Mayhem at Dutch Wonderland. Number 5, Wild Eagle, built by Bolliger and Mabillard, opened in 2012. Unlike many wing coasters, Wild Eagle starts off with a traditional forward drop. This is my personal favorite moment of the ride, as riding in the back will deliver some good airtime. The vertical loop is a forceful inversion, really packing in the G's. I actually grayed out during the beginning and ending of this loop during my most recent trip. The rest of the inversions are also fun and forceful. The ride is rather short, but still delivers a great time. Wild Eagle currently ranks as my least favorite wing coaster, mostly because of how short it is, but don't let that deter you from enjoying this good coaster. Riding up front may be enjoyable as you will feel more exposed, but the best forces are found riding in the back row. Number 4, Thunderhead, built by Great Coasters International, opened in 2004. I'm always excited when a theme park puts the time and effort into keeping their wooden coasters in tip-top shape. Thunderhead, though it may have a few rough patches, is still holding up well after 16 years. The last third of the ride must have gotten a recent retrack, because it's butter smooth. Great Coasters International, GCI for short, are known for building crazy twister layout woodies. Thunderhead follows that pattern by twisting you multiple directions, making it near impossible to guess which direction the roller coaster is traveling as you are watching it from the ground. The station fly-through introduces the waiting riders to a little bit of what they can expect on Thunderhead. There's nothing quite like the roar of a wooden coaster rumbling right by you to get your adrenaline peaked, ready for that upcoming adventure. The best place to enjoy this wooden coaster is up front. I feel every airtime moment is geared more towards the front of the train. Number 3. Tennessee Tornado. Built by Aerodynamics, opened in 1999. The last great looping coaster by Aero, Tennessee Tornado delivers an action-packed layout tucked into the valley. The drop into the tunnel is a great moment in the back, which is the best place to ride this coaster, delivering some fun airtime. The giant vertical loop has a little hang time at the top, but it only lasts for a second. The remaining inversions are forceful and fun. The trees have really grown in well around this ride, making this coaster feel secluded from the rest of the park. Tennessee Tornado is probably the smoothest looping coaster by Aero. There is little to no headbanging, and all the transitions are executed nicely. Number 2. FireChaser Express, built by Gerstlauer, opened in 2014. The surprise pick for my number 2 slot. I love FireChaser Express. It may be a family coaster, but it delivers on so many levels. The theming is great, the airtime is fun, and even though the two launches peak at slower speeds than your average launch coaster, they're fun and forceful. Traveling backwards is my favorite moment of the ride. If you're seated in the front row, suddenly you are in the back of the train getting some great airtime being yanked over the hill. The ride is really long, mixing it up all along the way. This is currently my favorite family coaster and my daughter Braylon's number 1 coaster at Dollywood. I recommend getting a few rides in the front and back of the train as they both deliver different experiences. Number 1. Lightning Rod, built by Rocky Mountain Construction, opened in 2016. This roller coaster may have technically opened in 2016, but for the mass majority of enthusiasts who traveled to Dollywood during its opening year, they were greeted by the ride closed signs. The launch mechanics for this one-of-a-kind wooden coaster proved to be too advanced, causing multiple issues and breakdowns. It wasn't until the middle of 2017, rolling into 2018, when Lightning Rod really started to operate more efficiently. The coaster still has its days of downtime, but the coaster has become more reliable in recent times. Beyond its opening operational snafu, Lightning Rod is one of the best roller coasters on the planet. Starting off with an exciting incline launch, this modern wooden coaster gets the adrenaline pumping immediately after leaving the station. Never have I ridden a roller coaster that gets more intense as the ride goes on. Each airtime hill is more extreme than the last. In fact, the only flaw I could uncover was how rough this coaster can get. It's not a deal breaker, and in some aspects, it enhances how intense this roller coaster is. Those final airtime hills as you are coming barreling back over the mountain can get pretty rough, making you feel completely out of control. The ride may have given me a minor headache during my multiple rides, but it wasn't enough to stop me from hopping back in line time after time. Unlike many coasters by Rocky Mountain Construction, RMC for short, riding in the back row is not the best place to ride. Closer to the front will provide the stronger airtime. Honestly, riding in the middle is a great place to be on Lightning Rod because you get a little bit of both worlds, the airtime of the front and the out-of-control feeling of the back. Well, that's my ranking of all the roller coasters at Dollywood. I know there might be a few surprising picks, like how high I have FireChaser Express and how low I place Mystery Mine. Overall, the entire coaster collection at Dollywood is world class. If these roller coasters were the only ones I could ride in 2020, I'd be content with that. Thank you for watching today's video. Let me know your Dollywood coaster rankings in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, and as always, please subscribe. You wouldn't want to miss out on more great content coming your way by Extreme Thrills.